The introduction of the Mach-E was when? What model year?
2021. 2021. Yeah.
The Lightning's intro year was?
2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, sitting here in mid 2023, we're excited for the launches of 2024
Hmm.
between Ford, Nissan. Looking to the next model years, are there any tidbits or things you could share with us that as far as what we should be excited for in upcoming releases?
So they just launched a new Escape, 2024 Escape. Some nice changes on their different packages that give you some good value for money. They're coming out with a Ranger, a newly redesigned Ranger. They're going to have a Ranger Raptor. It's on our ordering guides, but there's no news as to when it's coming to Canada. So that's one thing that they have. They launched a Bronco Raptor, which is a phenomenal vehicle. It's a beast. That came out recently, and it's quite nice. They've redesigned the Super Duty as well. So that's where Ford has gone with some of their product offerings. They're supposed to be coming out with other EV iterations soon. We just don't know what they are. But you look at it, they got a pretty fresh lineup. They got a pretty fresh lineup. The Maverick is something that's still very popular. We still have some inventory issues with getting Mavericks, but they're very, very popular, and they're a nice little truck to drive around, especially for the younger people that are really good in technology. Somebody who may need a truck to do a little bit of work, but want to have the convenience of something that's small that fits in parking garages and it's good to boot around in. That was really good. F-150 is always on the top of its game, in my opinion. Obviously they've been the number one selling truck for the last 52 years. So there's obviously something good about it. So F-150 is always on this game. Expedition is being redesigned with new packages that are coming out. They have like a black stealth package. It looks really nice. And Mustang, the 2024 Mustang was redesigned. So if you look it up, you'll see there's some very nice design cues that have changed it, and they're coming out with the Dark Horse, which they've launched the horsepower ratings on it. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's an absolute monster in terms of what you're getting in a GT Mustang. It's because there's going to be no Shelby for this year, so the Dark Horse is going to be the iteration that's going to give you like the raw power. So that's going to continue down the road. So that's the exciting stuff for Ford. When we look at the Nissan product now, they're redesigning the kicks. So the kicks has been a very popular. It technically looks like let's call it it looks like a hatchback slash station wagon, but they're redesigning it completely. I have not seen it yet, but one of the things that was missing in the kicks, because it makes you feel a little bit like you're driving a small SUV when you're driving it, is that it was only available in front wheel drive. So they're going to an all-wheel drive iteration of it. They're making it larger. They're changing the design cue completely. So that's something exciting that's coming down the pipe for Nissan. They did a little bit of a refresh on the Sentra, even though the Sentra was refreshed in 2020. They're refreshing that a little bit. So they've added some new packages and stuff that look really nice on that. They're going to have a transition where the Qashqai may be transitioning out. No longer as a product, because the new version of the kicks is going to compete with that. The Pathfinder has been very nice. They have that was redesigned, but they brought out the Rock Creek edition again, which it's kind of an off-road edition, similar to like a Timberline or something like that Ford offers. Looks really nice. And of course they had the 400Z that came out, which there's very low quantity of those across Canada and the US. We were fortunate enough to sell two of them. We had the Heritage Yellow,
Yellow
the
one, yes.
original yellow, even though it doesn't look exactly like the same yellow. And we had a blue one recently that we sold to some customers, and they really did a very nice job on the design of that. It's a pretty quick car. I did not take it for a drive because they were pre-sold, and I want people to make sure that they're getting into the cars pre-sold and knowing that people didn't take it for a run. We're very careful about that. And the Aria was Nissan's second edition of an electric vehicle, because you got to remember Nissan had the Leaf for many years, and it was one of the ones that was the only electric vehicle available at the time, full electric. And then Ford had the Ford Focus. So when you look at a Nissan, the things they've changed, the Leaf has been redesigned. It looks quite nice. And they've extended the battery ranges on the Plus models. So you're getting like 420 kilometers for a full charge on a small car like that. That's wonderful. And the Aria is let's call it the counterpart to the Ford Mach-E. It's an SUV version, and that drives really nice. They've done a very nice job on the inside. The way that the panels and stuff look, the technology works really well. Um, it's a very nice looking vehicle, but it's not the same as a Mach-E. It carries its own weight, right? It's kind of like a family vehicle, and it's different. It doesn't carry the battery underneath. The battery's in the front. So the Fords carry a frunk, and the battery goes underneath. The battery's in the front, and they give you a full size trunk. So it's interesting the design differences between the two manufacturers, but I do have to say that they're both really good products. So I'm proud to be part of that, and I'm proud that we offer good stuff to people. And Nissan is going to be coming up with some other products as well. They're looking at e-Power, which is similar to hybrid technology. They do have e-Power in Europe right now. They have almost like a I don't know what's the best. I don't know what name they call it, but I believe that they're using the X-Trail as the name in Europe, and it's like an e-powered Rogue, and so that's something that they have there. They were initially not going to bring it to the North American marketplace, but I think now they realize that there is a market for hybrid vehicles. I'm driving a hybrid right now, hybrid truck, and I switched to the electric next week, so it'll be interesting to see how that transition goes. But there's definitely a market for hybrid because you can get the best of both worlds, right? You're not going to have the range anxiety. You get some electric range on the vehicle. So for argument's sake, I would do in my truck a full tank of gas would run me if I'm, between highway and the roads, I would get about 900 kilometers mix. And of that, 320 of that was utilizing the electric power. Right? Now, if I went on a full trip, like all on the highway and kept my cruise on and stuff like that, I can get about 1,300 kilometers out of it, of which about 400 was electric assisted. It gives you all the stats in the car, right? So hybrid, there's still I like the hybrids. It's a good compromise for people who don't want to make that life adjustment to move to electric vehicles. But the electric vehicles are now starting to really have a cult following.
But most of the hybrids you do have to charge, right?
Nope.
Oh no, really?
Nope. Hybrid. So you have a plug-in hybrid,
Yep.
which you can charge,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you extended electric range. With the hybrid that has an engine, it has an electric engine, and it has the powered engine. You can regen as you brake. It basically has like an alternator that'll continue to push some power to keep the electric piece going. The nice thing about it is in the truck, I have something called Pro Power Onboard, and it's an electric generator. So I don't know if you remember a couple of years back, they had all the ice storms in Texas, and people were using their electric vehicles, and they were plugging it into the generator or receptacles of their home and running their home to keep the heat going, right? So my hybrid truck has the same Pro Power Onboard function as the electric truck. So when I do get into the electric truck, it's going to have it as well. But I had to do some work a couple of weeks back. I had no access to electricity, and I plugged in my extension into the back of it. And every once in a while, the truck would start up and regen. And I worked for like 6 hours using the power, and I barely burnt any gas.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it has it has a 220 plug in there. So if you're the type of person that needs to plug in your trailer, for example, there's a compatible plug for that if you want to run power off of it if you don't have a power plug-in. And there's another 1, 2, 3, 4 receptacles that are 110 volt that you can plug in other items. So you can do like the greatest tailgating party, and you wouldn't have to worry about charcoal and stuff. Just bring your little electric grill and plug it in on the back there. As a contractor, that's phenomenal because you don't have to worry about using a customer's power if you're outside doing a deck or something. You back up your truck, you run your extension. You can run 4 extensions off of it. It's crazy the way the technology has gone over the years, and it became really useful. I literally needed power, and where I was had zero power, and I was like, what am I going to do? My used car manager at least said to me, hey, check and see if your car has Pro Power Onboard and plug it into the generator. I'm like, Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Right? So I went, I'm like, it has it. It was beautiful. It was a lifesaver for me.
You know what else is beautiful, George? With the Fast and Furious movie out,
Yep.
I have to ask you because I looked a little bit and I'm a little confused. Nissan GT-R,
Yep.
is it done or is it come back?
No, no. So they were talking about a Nismo edition, which if you look up online, there are a couple dealers that are GTR dealers, and they have one of them I know for a fact has a Nismo there. They're asking a lot of money for it because it's rare. You're getting one, and you're probably going to have a few dealers that will have it, but not the multitude of dealers having it. So my understanding is that the GTR is still going. Any sort of stuff that I have seen as communication from Nissan, the GTR is going to continue, but obviously it is a high demand with low availability, with low supply. It's going to be very low supply. So you're going to find, similar to a lot of the other products, that people are going to be paying over MSRP to get that coveted edition for that year because there are not a lot of them.
I feel you. And the
Yeah.
Mustang, I'm going to ask you, you made a mention there. Is it a refresh or a new generation for
No,
2024?
it's new. It's a new redesign.
Well, it's a whole new generation.
Whole new
Wow.
redesign. Yeah. So look it up online. You'll see it. It has some cues of the old Mustang. A little bit of it looks like a little bit like a Camaro, the way that they flattened out the part of it. The visibility is still good. As you know, Camaro visibility is not the best because of the way the windshield comes down with the hard top, right? But they've maintained their visibility. The vehicle looks pretty sleek. They have a whole bunch of new features in there. Um, I'm trying to think. One of the features, we were looking at it with our guys last week, and it was a racing feature on there, and it came standard with it. I can't remember what it is right now, but it was kind of cool because back in the day you had line lock. The GTRs were known for things like launch control, right?
Right, right.
But if you had a GTR and you use your launch control, you void your warranty,
Oh,
right? It pushes the vehicle beyond its limits, but mostly guys would do it that were tracking it and stuff like that. So they have some nice racing features in the Mustang now that help you learn about tracking and stuff like that. They've really kept it as a performance vehicle, especially when you're getting into the Dark Horse edition. They have done a phenomenal job on the vehicle. I love the way it looks now. I got to see it live in Vegas. They brought it out on stage, and they had it on this rotisserie, let's call it, that was rolling around, so you could see all the changes. And you had somebody that pointed out all the changes. I mean, that was October last year, so I don't remember everything, but it was a nice redesign. It was a nice redesign.
I presume we're not going to get the square vanilla ice driving in my 5.0. That look probably not coming back, I assume.
I don't know. I mean, you never know. You never know. Like the Maverick and the F-150s are getting square. I used to like those old 5 liter Fox bodies. And there are a lot of people, like I was talking to you the other day about it. There are a lot of people that they have a cult following. You have Fox body groups and guys that show up at shows, and they have all the forums online, like Fox Body Mustangs. They're guys that go out and find them and restore these things. We had a customer here. His was a 1984, and he had this thing pristine. Right, he ended up selling it because he wanted to get a newer one. But I'll tell you, they still did a nice job on them, and for that car, it was light. So control issues. You got to be a really good driver. Rear wheel drive, like sometimes you pop it into third, you could spin the car out because there's so much torque going to the wheels. That's why they're so popular.
Listen, there's groups out there for Pontiac Fieros,
That's
and
true.
and those people became friends because they all spent time with the same mechanic, waiting for their cars to get fixed each and every time, and
Yeah,
that's how they bonded. That their car show was at the mechanic shop,
yeah, that's right.
And it's funny because as far as mid-engine goes and everything else, pretty revolutionary for its time, but
That's
very,
true.
very poor execution.
Yeah,
Pontiac
yeah, yeah,
Solstice, another one I can think of.
yeah,
Really, really cute little convertible in its time, but if you actually look at it mechanically, not that stellar, and there's a reason why it didn't last.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
there's a reason why certain brands just went by the wayside. They may look good on an ad, but
Yeah.
if they don't last test of time, they're not going to survive for very long.